Assalamualaikum to Madam Hani. My name is Nofatin binti Muhammad Nur Anisam from 390 Group A3. Today, I and my fellow group will tell about either of international agencies that have in Malaysia. We have chosen National Human Rights Society. HAKAM, or in other words is National Human Rights Society, was formed by Tunku Abdul Rahman. HAKAM was officially registered on 40 June 1991 with the Malaysian Register of Society under the Societies Act 1966. As we all know, knowing what our rights are is essential nowadays. When dealing with persons who are skilled in exploiting other rights, we must exercise caution. Allowing our rights to be taken away without our knowledge is unacceptable. The Malaysian Human Rights Commission, which is AKAM, was founded to safeguard Malaysian rights. Human rights are the tradition that will safeguard us in the same way as they are universal. This is shown by the Nation of Human Rights, which argues that all people are equal regardless of their differences and are endowed with unalienable rights. What is the significance of human rights in our society? We can't define what is, after all, our property if we don't have human rights. Furthermore, human rights will ensure that you receive what you require, such as medication, food, drinks, education, and other necessities.
Assalamualaikum and hi, I am Muhammad Akmal Mirzan. I will talk about the objective of National Human Rights Society. The objective is first and foremost to promote, safeguard and defend human rights. Second, to promote the human rights ideals enshrined in the United Nations Chartered Human Rights Declaration from around the world. Third, to pursue the government to sign the International Covenant on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights, the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, as well as International Covenant on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights, are two treaties that have been signed. Human rights are important to optional protocol to the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights is a set of rules that can be added to the International Covenant on Civil and Political are the UN, International or Regional Human Rights Instrument. Human rights are an issue that everyone should be concerned about. So that's all for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Nurulhani Safifa binti Asli. My matrix number is 20209522231. I will talking about the role of HAKAM. A sovereign, democratic and independent state built on the ideals of liberty and justice and ever seeks the prosperity and happiness of its people and the preservation of a fair peace among all nations. Declared Tunku Abdul Rahman Putra Al-Haj, Malaysia First Prime Minister. We can see here how much love and devotion Tunku Abdul Rahman has for Malaysia and its people. HAKAM has been working for human rights in Malaysia for 25 years, and some of the accomplishments they have made so far have not been easy. They must take one step ahead, then another, and so on, until all nations are aware of them. When they become well known, their obligation grows even greater, which is to safeguard Malaysians' human rights. HAKAM also works to educate Malaysians on their human rights. This NGO center will continue to speak out against human rights violations and to protect and defend the human rights of all Malaysians. HAKAM will continue to push for the repeal of any severe legislation that restricts human rights and basic rights provided by our federal constitution, as well as representing and advocating for victims of human rights violations.
In this part, I will tell about the next thing and activity that AKAM was doing. Malaysia, as we know, is one of countries with multiple races and religion. When it comes to religion, it is a sensitive topic for all Malaysians. If this issue arises, then there is a tense and worrying tension among Malaysians. We have seen with our own eyes where if there is a differences in religion, then the religion's worst capacity and FR will be oppressed in little. HAKAM strives to create space for debate regarding religious freedom in our countries. Either of example, the issue in religion about human rights is mismanagement of Muslim ability to own and handle dogs, increased Shia persecution, protests over the exhibition of a cross in a church, and protests over the construction and demolition of houses of worship have all occurred in recent years. In short, to overcome this problem, AKAM have created a forum and collaborate with the University of Malaysia Law Faculty. Among the speakers are Professor Emeritus Shad Faruqi, better known as Prof. Shad, and Dr. Diana Abdul Hamid was called as Prof. Dian. Also, the two commentators who were invited to contribute were Mr. Piliko and Datu Malik Imtiaz Sarwa. At the end of the program, Piliko made similar remarks, emphasizing how Malaysia has arrived at a situation where the Malays, the majority race, are the only race without religious freedom. He also mentioned how everything begins with family upbringing and how, unbeknownst to him, he too accidentally established racial prejudice, which his children later pointed out.
Hi, I am back again. And what is the definition of the death penalty? As we all know, the death sentence is a punishment for which there is no further mercy. The death sentence is a final judgment made by the court for offender who commit grave offense, one of which is murder. As we all know, the death sentence, as said above, is definitely prone to human people who are prone to making mistakes. Hakam, on the other hand, seeks to abolish the death penalty since it is a violation of human rights. The death penalty should be abolished for several reasons. So that's all for my part. Let's go for the next part.
Assalamualaikum, good afternoon to Madam Ani. My name is Nira Shafini and I will present about activity and effort of the National Human Rights Society, or known as HAKAM. So what they do for Malaysia? First of all, Malaysian activities and civil society organization can no longer rely on traditional communication strategy. HAKAM has started using social media to improve its communication capabilities. Many other activities and non-governmental organizations have begun to lobby for their issue through social media. But are we making effective and efficient use of social media? HAKAM is offering a 2-day course on how to leverage social media for impactful social change. This course is for human rights activity and defender as well as non-governmental organization. The material of this class was developed using the experience and tactics of world most successful advertising campaigns. Second, HAKAM presented the inaugural Jom Tanya Saya or Ask Me series of live broadcast dialogue on Facebook Live with 4 renowned Malaysians in August 2016, including Ambika Srinivasan, Stephen Thairu, Marina Mahathir, and Azmi Sharom. This series is part of HAKAM continuous effort to encourage Malaysians to participate in online discussion about current problems. This series was also meant to motivate and raise awareness about the necessity of all Malaysians doing their bit. HAKAM President Dato' Ambika Srinivasan answers questions about the Citizen Declaration, election reform in the area of political donation and contribution, the opposition chances in the next general election, refugee treatment, and the United Nations Convention on Refugees. Mr. Stephen Thairu, President of the Malaysian Bar, answered questions about current issues such as justice administration, the federal constitution, the role of the Malaysian Bar, and the roles of various other institutions in Malaysia, such as the Judiciary Attorney General Chamber and the Enforcement Agency, and how they affect people's well-being.
In Malaysia, HAKAM obviously plays an important role. This organization has made a significant contribution to the betterment of the community's residents. The organization has a major focus on strengthening impoverished sections of society to help them protect human rights. They have engaged in a variety of useful actions to ensure that their aims are met. This demonstrates that Malaysians have a nice heart and like assisting one another. Malaysia might become a role model for other countries throughout the world as a result of this. The program's activities were also completed effectively. This demonstrates that they work together regardless of ethnicity or religion. It is apparent that this is a very important program for us to support and engage in, since it brings several advantages not only to community but also to the country that participates in the program.